right. And we are live on Facebook Live. My name is Jeanne Casteen, and I am the Democratic candidate for Maricopa County School Superintendent. Today, my special guest is the lovely and talented Dawn Schumann. Dawn Schumann is the statewide political director for the Teamsters Local 104. And Dawn and I met, I don't know, probably about 6 months ago. And she's just my kind of people. We had a breakfast with another mutual friend, and the way that we were able to immediately connect, I swear, she feels like my sister from another mister, seriously. And she's one of the hardest working women in Arizona, but I don't want to take away her thunder. I want to let Dawn go ahead and introduce herself. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Dawn.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Dawn Schumann. I'm the statewide political coordinator director for Teamsters Local 104. Statewide jurisdiction, we have 9,200 members throughout our state. And so that is my official title. What I do is protect workers' rights, stand up for workers, stand up for women, men, children, your animals probably. I got involved in this. It's a super sweet story, and I'll try to not keep it, try not to have it be too personal. But my wife was a Teamster, and she still is. She's a secretary treasurer. And I fell in love with the labor movement when I was a child. I was raised by a single mom, and she was in the IBEW. She retired with 401k and a pension. But she was a shop steward. And so my mom was she's about 5'1" and just fiery. And they wouldn't let her wear pants. That's what it came down to. And I can remember sitting as a child, 4, 5, 6, under the chair watching my mom fight to wear pants. And she won. And I remember the day it was victorious. And so I've always had it in me. I've always had that passion inside of me. And then when I met my wife, who is now my wife, read the books. I'm from Michigan, so don't ask any questions about Detroit, but from Michigan. And so I understood it and I knew it and it was in my bones. And I believed in her. I believed in the union movement. I believe in workers' rights. I believe in equality and equity. And so I stood up, started standing up for everyone. I volunteered for many, many years, and then they just made a decision to hire me. And I've been a Teamster for 5 years, but have always been an activist all my life. So that's how I got involved with this.
Right on. So my parents were both United Auto Workers. We're from a really small town in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. When I was growing up there were about 4,400 people, and my parents, neither of them had college degrees. My dad was all set to be a dairy farmer, and instead he got a job with, he made parts for GM. So he and my mom both worked in that factory. And I have to tell you, so my mom sounds like a lot like your mom. And I don't think I've ever seen, maybe when my sisters got married, my mom wore a dress, but she does not wear dresses or skirts at all. And she's feisty too. And actually you kind of remind me of my mom. Really just in spirit, because so one of my favorite stories about my mom, when we were younger and they went on strike, my mom, we were down to one vehicle. And so my mom said to my older sisters who could drive, you're going to have to pick me up from the picket line today. And we always thought, what exactly are they doing at this picket line that we keep hearing about? So we get there, I'm in the back seat, my older sisters are in the front. And my mom says, hey girls, right here. And she said, okay, I'm gonna be done in about 5 minutes. You can pick me up, hold on just a second. And she starts cursing, screaming across us to the other side of the car because a scab was crossing the picket line. You effing this and that. I couldn't believe, my whole childhood changed from that moment on because I saw this completely different side of my mom. And up until then, we thought they were just messing around all day. We didn't really know what the purpose was. And that gave me a deep understanding of the protections that the union, the kind of dignity that the union provided for my parents, even though they didn't have college degrees. And so I told my dad last night, so this is my time to announce, I got the Teamsters endorsement. Dawn sent me an email last night and I immediately called up my dad And my dad was talking about how he's so worried about some of these frontline employees. He's heard stories about people at meatpacking plants. He's heard stories about, people who work at the grocery store or, at Amazon. And that's the thing that really gets to him right now is why isn't anybody talking about these folks? So, I want to talk a little bit about solidarity right now. There was a great article in Jacobin magazine about how this is the moment for us to really band together as workers and fight for those protections so we get paid sick leave and so we don't have to put our lives and our families at risk. Do you want to talk a little bit about, how can that happen? How can we make that happen where we have that kind of solidarity in organization?
Thank you for asking that question. Here's what it comes down to. We in 2020 don't understand what happened in the 1920s, in the 1930s, in the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. We don't understand what happened back then to give us what we have now. We think that we are gifted and granted a weekend when that was fought for by our union brothers and sisters back in the day. We don't think about when we go to a job and we have OSHA protection or that we have protection is because somebody fought for that years and years and years ago. When it comes to solidarity, we all think that we're granted this. And so why join a union? Because everything is what it is. It's because people have fought and died to give us what we have today. When we talk about solidarity in the workplace right now, when did our expendable workers become essential? The day that we needed them. But here's the deal, we've always needed them. We've always needed the UFCW workers. We've always needed IATSE. We've always needed the electricians, the pipe fitters, plumbers and pipe fitters. I always get that one confused a little. We've always needed us. People have always needed us. The Teamsters, we have 50 different bargaining units in this state. So you can think about anything from American Airlines to UPS and anything in between. We moved this state. We have always been essential. It is just now that the world is understanding that we are essential. The solidarity between unions is so important because we all need to band together. If we don't band together, there's always going to be, well, I was going to say that, but I can't because we're Facebook Live. So thinking, pause, please. If not, we're never going to be together. We talk about schools. I could talk about Teamsters and trucks, and I can talk about delivering. Here's when it comes down to the teachers and the really yummy stuff. We need public education. I was born and bred from public education. I remember what it was like when there were strong associations and unions in schools before the state government came in and then controlled the school's pocketbooks. I can remember what it was like to, take the nap in kindergarten and learn my ABCs. And now I was doing homework with a second grader the other day and it was like fractions. And I was like, whoa, time out a second. We have to take it back to I don't want to say simplicity, but take it back to when it was a simpler time. Our son, who we have 7 children, our son is the last in public education. He's a freshman at an unnamed high school in Phoenix, Arizona, close to 23rd Avenue in Glendale. But anyways, unnamed. I went to go look at his school books when he started freshman year, and their history books only go up to George Bush, not Washington. That'd be a little book. George Bush. And I looked at the teacher and I said, how is this happening? And she was ready for, like a disgruntled parent. And I said, well, I know, let me tell you why it's happening. And we need to protect our teachers. We need to protect everyone who works in a school. They're essential. Solidarity starts with us, but it goes into education. We've got to protect our educators, all of them. all of them. The greatest lessons I learned, and I won't cry, but were from the lunch ladies, because they show up every single day and they love me when I was a child. They love my babies. They know the ones that are hungry, not hungry, the ones that need help, don't need help, the ones that will look the other way so they can eat. That is fundamentally wrong when we live in a country of excess. We've got to take care of our children. We have to take care of our children. And with that, that is why I truly believe that you are the best person for the Maricopa County School Superintendent. We proudly endorse you. We believe in your mission, and come November, it's time to get elected. In January, it's time to go to work.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. And, you know, and those lunch ladies, they are the ones who, the first thing that happened, first of all, in the middle of March, when there was all this movement towards shutting the state down, the very first thing I thought of was all of the students who are dealing with food insecurity. And, the fact that, especially in our Title I schools, where we have a high population of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, those parents are oftentimes our classified staff. They're oftentimes in the service industry. They work construction, and they are putting themselves in harm's way. And they did not skip a beat. The people who work in our nutrition department, they have been showing up from the get-go. We've got other people in the community who are working to bring other nonprofit organizations to supplement, and the lines that these folks, they're long lines of folks coming to get that breakfast and lunch, because for many of our kids, that's the only place where they know they're going to have, at least 2 meals a day. And in the Creighton School District, where we, under normal circumstances, have a supper program, it's being put on hold for right now. But that stuff is really important. I just want to call out too that we've got a couple of people watching. Ulysses Cortez, who's actually one of my former students from the Creighton School District. And Brian Whitman is here watching as well. So I just wanted to say hi and thank you for taking a minute to watch us. I know that recently, first of all, I want to go back real quick to education, because you know what else I saw in the spring of 2018? Aside from the sea of red, which I immediately started crying like a baby, because it was like, oh my gosh, this is huge. I've never been part of something so huge. And it felt to me like I know, right? It was like full circle, watching my parents and seeing the struggles that they went through, because eventually their factory unfortunately closed down. It was right at the beginning of NAFTA, and that fundamentally changed the security of my family. And my parents ended up working 2 and 3 jobs to be able, delivering papers, which, by the way, they would make me get up at 2:30 in the morning. It was horrible. Ugh. Yeah. So delivering papers, my mom started waiting tables. They worked my mom worked as a courtesy clerk. My dad was able to piece together some factory jobs, but it was just never quite the same. But what I saw during that week that we were on strike, I saw the Teamsters, and I saw the pipe fitters, and I saw the sheet metal workers, and I saw, all of these unions coming together, bringing us water, carrying around snacks, and just really carrying us on their shoulders. And it was that kind of solidarity that made me think, okay, if we could just see this collective power that we have, we could truly change the world, And so that's kind of the point that I want to get through real quick too. I want to say, David Gordon, hello to you. Pete Dickerson is a friend of mine from high school. He is a wonderful Republican, and we get into really colorful debates, but it's a lot of fun. And Nick Martin, who's a fantastic candidate for Phoenix Elementary School District. So that solidarity and the fact that I felt like I was being held by my union brothers and sisters, it was very powerful. So I want to switch gears real quick, because I know you have many things to do. You're a very busy woman. But I want to talk about the work that you've really been doing a lot for the last year or so. I want to talk about ASARCO, because I think that's something that doesn't get a lot of press. And, people need to know about what's going on down there. So can you take a moment and talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So on October 13th, 2019, 7 unions, 5 locations, 2 states, who work at ASARCO Grupo, which is owned by Grupo Mexico. We all went on strike, so that steel workers, IBEW, plumbers, and pipe fitters Forgive me because I know that I'm going to forget some. The operating engineers, the Teamsters, and others. We all went on strike on October 13th, 2019. Really gross negligence from the company. Some haven't had a pay raise in over 10 years. Safety conditions are horrible. If you think of a mine, it's an open pit mine. So I toured it one time in 2015, and it's the structure is incredible. How you work, you drive on the other side of the road, and the trucks, everything it's Tonka trucks on steroids is what it is. But anyways, we went on strike, and Secretary Treasurer Schumann and I lived there for 4 months while we were on strike. We had to come back to Phoenix to start, doing both, if you will, and then COVID hit, and we'll talk about that too. But I'll tell you, these are some of the most dedicated, amazing brothers and sisters that I've worked with. And our strike line was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When COVID-19 started, we needed to know what to do. We had to really think about our men, because we just have men on the line at Mission in Sahuarita, Arizona, which we are located at. And so we suspended our strike line until a time that we feel that it's safe to go back and strike. On the picket line, we are still on strike. We are still waiting for the NLRB to answer the board charges, to come back with a decision. During this time, Grupo Mexico has done nothing to help us. They've not come back to the table. They have not agreed to any terms or conditions. And so, when we have a strike, it's one thing, because there is a solidarity, there is the unification of all unions. I will tell you that, and I say this with my heart on my sleeve and in my soul. If you ever go through a labor dispute in Arizona, the one place that you want to be is in Tucson, Arizona, and Southern Arizona. The representatives have been amazing. The congressmen and congresswomen have been amazing. And it shows the solidarity of what happens when we all come together and we all band together. We're waiting for word right now what's going to happen, when we're going to open, but we are going to resume our strike line and our picket line. We just don't know when. I can tell you that our general president, James Hoffa, came out on December 29th and spoke to our members and spoke to all members that were there from different unions. And that is solidarity. When I hear, so I'm a mom of 7. So when anybody 30 or younger talks to me, I just take them on as my children. And when a few of them asked me, I thought that the Teamsters were only in Arizona. I didn't even understand that people that don't live in Arizona care about us. And now that conversation, he understands what a union means. It doesn't, we can wear the t-shirts all day, you wear the t-shirts, the hats, put a sticker on your car. Do you shop at union shops? Do you stand for workers' rights and protections? I may not be wearing a hat or a shirt or anything, but I'll tell you, I'll stand with them. You don't go in the self-checkout lines. You teach children what it means to be in a union. When you talk about your parents who never went to college, I never spent a day in college. Became a mom very early. But I believe that if you work hard and you truly believe in your passion, you will do great things. And if you want to be a UPS driver, not right now. If you want to be a UPS driver, be the best UPS driver you want to be. If you want to be an electrician, be the best electrician you can be. Be the best you can be. But it all starts with education and how we teach our children, and who they become is who they will be. Getting back to ASARCO, I just talked in cursive. I love my members. I love them, and they deserve to have a voice. They deserve to have a loud voice. All of our members do. One thing about unions, and I will briefly touch on this. What I appreciate about union contracts, about bargaining units, and about protection is all of us come from some sort of a different background. Gay, straight, white, black, brown skinned, immigrant, non-immigrant, still trying to get here. Union contracts offer protections that companies don't offer. If you're in the LGBTQ community, you have protections in some contracts. What a blessing is that? What an absolute, in a state that we live in, that I can marry who I love on Friday and get fired for marrying said person on Friday. On Monday, unacceptable. It's unacceptable that we have trans kids out there scared to death to be who they are. And union protections, if they were in a union job and over the age of 18, would have. We've got to start looking out for everybody. Everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. We need to make sure that everyone is protected.
So obviously how we, where we shop and how we spend our money is something that we should all be mindful of. But what about right now, those restaurant workers who feel the pressure to go back to work, or if you are at an Amazon facility where Bezos is set up to be the first trillionaire? I can't even believe that that's a thing. How can those folks, do you have any advice for somebody right now who's feeling like, I just don't feel protected, but I'm desperate because I need this paycheck, and how do those folks organize so that they can have those same protections? I know it's not something that happens overnight, but for those folks who might be watching, like, how do you help them? How do you give them the tools that they need to be able to organize in the workplace and actually be successful at it in a right to work state like Arizona?
No, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you. Yeah, you can take it out, please. Sorry. This is so.
And I'll just say real quick that Jeff Fortney, who is another fantastic school board member or school board candidate for Cave Creek Unified School District, just jumped on. Love Jeff. He's great. And I think Jeff's going to be talking to me tomorrow. So go ahead.
But here's when we talk about organizing and when we talk about what can we do, the first thing that comes to my mind, maybe it's because I'm a mom or maybe it's because I'm a Teamster, is what? We stand with you, we support you, we believe in you, and don't give up. The second part of any conversation could always be about mental health. How Amazon treats their employees is horrific. And, we can't talk about union organizing if we don't talk about union busting. And union busting is prevalent at Amazon. Let's treat our employees poorly and, they'll still come back because they need that job. Collectively, you always see those posters of like the one fish going this way and the 70 million fish going this way. We just need a bunch of little fish on this side to fight back. I always tell people, fight back, ask questions. And if those questions don't get answered, ask more questions and ask until you feel like you have been heard. Organizing, www.Teamsters Local 104, and there's an organizing button that you can click and fill the information out. Organizing is what we need. Everyone should be entitled to organize in their companies. There are companies that do a fantastic, beyond amazing job with their employees, and the employees will say, we're good. Some, like Amazon, not so good, not so good. And so it is all about standing up. What I would say to the workers, to the Unite Here workers, who 98% of their membership no longer exists because they don't have jobs, because of what they do. My convention brothers and sisters that are in Las Vegas, the only thing that I can say is one day we'll have a new normal post-COVID. I don't know what it looks like. I have no clue. The ones that are feeling pressured, to go back to their work, because we have a governor who thinks that we should just run back to work because all is well and the sky hasn't fallen. Hold please, because I almost said something again. I say to those people, you need worker protections. You need workers' rights and protection so you can stay home if you don't feel safe. If you work in an unsafe environment, report it to the media. Get your voice out there. I can't get everybody's voice out there. I need everybody to speak up for themselves. I need everybody to stand up for themselves. I need everybody to say, this is bullshit. Sorry, I lasted 27 minutes, I think. But that's what I need. I need people to look at me, look at you, look at the other leaders. Look at the other leaders that are fighting this. Mayor Regina Romero standing up for the people of Tucson. Mayor Gallego standing up for the people of Phoenix. We need worker protections. And one day when it is safe, we will all be visiting restaurants again. And we know that, if you're going to order from Grubhub, listen, if you're going to order from Grubhub and the tip is $10, throw another $10 in there. We're staying at home because we know it's easy to order out. If you go to I got to put my soapbox down. This is what I will say. When you go to a grocery store, look them in the eyes and tell them thank you, and tell them you appreciate them, and tell them that they're there. Yes, they're there to earn money, but that you acknowledge that person, and you acknowledge the 16 and 17-year-old boy or girl who's bagging groceries, who's risking their life during COVID-19 to bag my groceries. I'll bag my own groceries, go home. To the firefighters, to the police, to the everyday heroes, the nurses, everyone, look him in their eye and say thank you. To the UPS delivery driver who has worked 12, 13, 9, 10 hours to get your package to you. I know your package is important to you. I understand it and I honor that. But my brothers and sisters have been up since the sun came out and will not go home until the wee hours of the night. I understand your package is important, but maybe instead of being frustrated with them, be frustrated with the process and just say thank you, and offer them water or something cold, because right now delivery drivers do not have anywhere that they can stop and go where they used to be able to stop and get rest and have respite for a few minutes. Now that things are opening up, they're able to go into McDonald's, and we appreciate that. My members are tired. They get it. They want to give you your stuff. To the fries drivers, they're doing their best they can to get you some toilet paper, but it's not their fault. Let's start looking them in the eye and saying thank you and truly, truly appreciating them.
And, I think that unfortunately has been a trend in the United States. We've forgotten about each other's humanity. I'm so focused on what it is that I want. Oh, this mask is uncomfortable. I hate it. It's hot. Oh, I can't believe. I've heard these stories about people attacking folks because they're trying to keep the other people safe, and it's like, can we maybe just perhaps remember each other's humanity? And it certainly doesn't help when the leadership at the top does not do that. I'm pretty sure he went to that Ford factory today in Michigan without wearing a mask, because what? It shows that he's macho? I have no idea, but it's just, we're all in this together. When I think about what did happen, there's this really great book called Evicted. I think that's what it's called. And I can't remember the author, but they talk about how evictions are really on the rise because housing insecurity is a huge problem in the United States, especially in urban areas. But how in the 1930s, during the Depression, when people were getting evicted, like the number of evictions in New York City during that decade was like nothing. And it's because people in the neighborhood would blockade the entire building and say, no, you're not going to kick our neighbor out, you know? And so I would love to see us get back to that. Remember the humanity of the courtesy clerk at your Fry's. Remember the humanity of the UPS driver who's just trying to earn a living for his family. Remember the humanity of the teacher or the people in the cafeteria who serve your kid food. And that's really, I think, the big lesson. And that's what unions do. They help us to preserve our dignity and to remember each other's humanity. So I know you have very important things to do because you're a very important woman. So I just want to say thank you, Dawn, so much for everything that you do every single day. Thank you to you and the Teamsters for your support of my campaign, and keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you. And yes, please be kind to all. Be kind. Just be kind.
Easy. Kill them with kindness. That's it. And you know what? You kill them with kindness. Somebody's rude to you and you're nice to them, it really messes with them. It's perfect. That was one of the things my mom taught me, because when she was a waitress, she said, do you want to earn a little extra money and buy your own clothes? And I said, sure. She said, all right, okay, we're going to go. You're going to be a bus girl at this restaurant where I work. And, you know, that I would watch as customers would be rude to her. And she said, you know what, though, they'll come around. You kill them with kindness, they'll come around. So anyway, thanks, Dawn. Thank you for being here today, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Take
care. Thank you. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.